Okay. Okay. All right. So, couple of things that we will need to study today. All right. Just be very, very mindful. I'm going to teach you couple of refreshers. No, couple of refreshers. All right. I would just like to make sure for those that are not yet familiar. Okay. Okay. All right. Type 1 kung ready na. Are we ready to move on? Ready? Okay, good. All right. So let's try to master. Let's get to know Mr. MacD. No, let's try to get to know Mr. MacD on a deeper level. No. So MacD is a trend following indicator. Okay, let me do some refreshers. Ha, it's a trend following. There are multiple types of indicators. Okay, indicators. Kasi since you are intermediate already, you guys need to know this, no? So indicator combo. Okay, you have an indicator combo. One, you have a trend following indicator must always be matched with a momentum indicator. Number two, your volatility indicator should be matched with a momentum indicator. Number three, your trend following indicator, sorry, your trend following indicator, this means that your trend following indicator cannot be matched with another trend following indicator. I'll tell you later on what does that mean. No? Your volatility indicator should never stand alone. There should be a momentum indicator. Your trend following indicator optionally can be matched with a volume indicator. Okay, make sense, guys? So tandaan niyo yan, ha? All right. Now, what are the examples? Can someone give me an example of a trend following indicator? Someone give me an example of a trend following indicator, guys.
Alma and Elma.
Alma and Emma, very good. All the Emmas, Almas, SMAs, right? All of the moving averages. What else? There's one more.
BB.
No, not BB.
MACD po.
Perfect. Very good. It is a trend following indicator kahit nasa baba siya, ha? Okay. Give me an example of a volatility indicator, the famous one.
BB po. Bollinger Band.
Volatility, very good. BB, 50, 0.2, or the standard, BB, 22. All right. Give me an example of a volume indicator.
RSI?
No? So you have actual volume bars or your OBD. Sorry, say that again.
PCI.
Nope. Your momentums are your RSIs, CCIs, and stocks. Okay. I'm not teaching stocks, although stocks is also a really good momentum indicator. All right. So by definition, kapag ikaw ay nagkaroon ng there's one more, no? There's one more, no? You have your predictive indicators. Give me an example of a predictive indicator.
Ibo.
Fib. Okay, what else?
Divergence.
Chimoku Cloud.
Ha?
Ichimoku Cloud.
Okay. What else?
Haikenashi Buy and Smooth po.
Okay, what else? I'll not add that. Sige. Candles yun eh. Ano pa? Someone already said it.
Divergence.
Divergences. Okay, very good. Okay. All right, good, no? So, all right. So, when you try to put an indicator, so this is, for example, your charts, no? Okay, this is your charts. Oops, nawala. Okay. So, hahatiin pa natin, no? Hahatiin pa natin ito further, no? All right. When you say it is an overlay indicator, it is within your candles, no? It's within your candles. If you say it's an oscillator, it's nasa baba. It's an oscillating indicator. Now, let us try to master this, no? Pag ako naglagay ng EMA or ALMA, ano dapat ang kaharap niya sa ilalim? Based on the indicator combo. If I put a trend following indicator, what should be the partner?
RSI or CCI po.
Which is
Momentum.
a one-time indicator, momentum. Very good. Okay. If I try to put a Bollinger Band sa taas, ano dapat ang kasama ko?
Momentum indicator.
Very good. So can I put another trend following indicator with another volatility indicator?
No, no, ano po?
No, pwede siya, pwedeng gawin pero not encouraged. Okay? Because ang mangyayari, pag naglagay ka ng MA50 and Bollinger 50, it's just the same. No, it tells you the same laggard moving average because yung ugali ni BB yung nasa gitna niya, tatandaan niyo to ha, si BB yung nasa gitna niyang linya, that's also a moving average. This is a moving average, okay? That's why when you click on this one, your length is the 20, this is your MA20. Make sense? So hindi siya ini-encourage, no? Parehas lang siya. Okay? Now, let's do this. Let's try to understand Mr. MacD. All right. Si Mr. MacD, ganito ugali niya, no? Si MacD, this is obviously two moving averages, no? Anong dalawang moving average to, guys? What is this? Anong MAs tong mga to?
20 and 50?
No. Look.
Oh, 26.9.
So, your MACD is the difference between your MA26 and your MA12, which means gaano kahaba yung MA na to? What is this MA? Your MACD is MA what? MA?
26 days po.
No?
Saka 12.
Oo, what is 26 minus 12? MA?
12 po.
No?
14 days, 2 weeks.
26 minus 12?
14 po.
14. What is your signal line?
9.
9 days. Very good. So this is technically, pag inangat mo to doon sa taas, pag umangat ka doon sa taas at naglagay ka ng MA14 and MA9, halos magkamukha yan. Halos magkamukha. So parang inakyat mo lang siya doon sa taas. Now, ano ang histogram? What does that histogram mean? Now, Investogram is showing a different histogram, no? It's obviously giving you a histogram with the buying pressure, no? So if you see a buying pressure here, it means that the buying, if you look above, you look here above, this is almost equivalent, but not perfectly equal, no? Kumbaga, the buying volume here, your moving average convergence divergence is trying to give you an indicator na mataas pa din yung buying pressure. But without waiting for your MACD line to go down, it already is telling you na yung buying pressure niya humihina. Kaya lighter green na to. On the similar line, it's red because it has a very strong selling pressure. Now, bakit nagkakaroon ng zero? Bakit nagkakaroon ng zero? It means that nagkaroon ng intersection. Yung dalawang line, your signal line and your MACD line has an intersection. So, by rule, parang stocks ito, no? By rule, kapag ito ay bumasag pataas from ilalim, of your yellow line, which is your signal, it can mean that it is bullish. It can mean that it is bullish. All right. Now, also make sure that you are familiar with the zero line. Of course, we're familiar sa RSI, di ba? When we open RSI, meron kang 70 and 70 and what? 70 and
30.
30. Sa MACD, you also have your zero line, no? So what does this zero line mean, no? Zero line means, so this is an indicator for you to know if your price is below zero. Look at this one. If your price is below zero, there is an indication of it being bearish. There's an indication of it being bearish, no? And if it goes above the zero line, there is an indication of it to be bullish already. Okay, so MACD alone is a very, 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 very powerful tool. In fact, may mga MACD uh, uh, enthusiasts na they're just using MACD and candles, no? But again, as what I'm teaching, sabi ko nga dito, your trend following should have a momentum indicator. Okay? So in this case, you have your MACD here, right? Your trend following indicator can also be plus another, you have plus your MACD is an optional combo. Meaning, if you have an EMA, you have an ALMA, you have a MACD, it's an optional combo just because MACD is, yes, it is a trend following indicator, but it has also another metric called histogram, and it also could give you the buying and the selling pressure. Okay? All right. So, kapag ito ay nag-intersect, the histogram will be 0. You will not see any volume bars here. No? But if it goes above your zero line, there is an indication of it being bullish. If it crosses below your zero line, it means it's actually bearish. All right. Now, if you now include your MACD on your above oscillator, no, on your above on your above chart, it's important always that you look into patterns and trends, no? Patterns and trends, and then saka ka maglalagay ng, balik tayo dito, trend following indicator plus momentum indicator, trend following indicator plus MACD, no? So when you combo that together, it could help you execute a buying signal. Ano ang buying signal ng MACD? Your MACD buying signal is always going to be, makinig mabuti ha, your MACD buying signal is always going to be your MACD crossing from below to above, no? Crossing from below to above, no, your signal line. Ito yung mga wag niyo kakalimutan, no. It doesn't always mean that your MACD crossing It doesn't always mean that your MACD crossing above is always a buying signal, ha. Sometimes ano ang mga weaknesses ni MACD? MACD can also give you a false signal. When does it give you a false signal? If your pattern sa taas, sulat nyo to. If your pattern sa taas is on a sideways or ganito. If your pattern is like this. May mga ganyan, ha, may mga ganyan, especially if you use low volume coins, it could give you sali-saliwa, straight na hindi gumagalaw, no? So don't always use MACD on those scenarios. No, all right, number two, if you're using MACD and MACD is actually for example, this one, no? All right, it's actually creating a lower sorry, not that, hang on a second. So if it's actually already creating a higher high, but your MACD is creating a higher low, no? Sorry, a lower high, it means that there is a potential for a transition play. Pwedeng bumaba yan. No, it can further go down, no? So, ganyan ang kagandahan ni MACD, no? So, MACD can throw kung meron siyang upward and downward kung nakakita ka ng mga breakouts or breakdowns, doon very effective si MACD. If you're seeing a breakouts or a breakdowns, ganun siya napaka-effective. But if you're seeing it actually on a sideways, medyo hindi siya effective doon, no? So if you're seeing forming higher high candles, lower low candles, doon mas effective si MACD because it could give you, from the word itself, MACD, moving average, convergence, divergence, no? When you say convergence, in Tagalog, ito ay nagdidikit, meaning the price is, for example, let me look for a convergence. Okay, so if you see a convergence, ibig sabihin nun, your price is actually forming a lower low, but MACD is forming a higher low. So nagko-converge, dumidikit, no? When you say divergence, what does divergence means? Naghihiwalay siya, no? So your price is forming a higher high, your candle is forming a higher high, but your MACD is forming a higher low. I'm sorry, lower high. I was pertaining with this. This is lower high. So what does this mean is that naghihiwalay siya, guys. It's actually, naghihiwalay. It's why it's called divergence. This is a convergence, no? So a MACD convergence is a bullish. A MACD divergence is a bearish, no? So MACD pa lang, busog-lusog ka na. MACD pa lang. We're not yet on RSI, ha? MACD pa lang, busog-lusog ka na. And that's how, same as stocks, no? It's also a very powerful tool for you to know histogram, MACD bullish cross, MACD bearish cross, MACD convergence, divergence. Okay? And then as I've said, no, you have other indicators, no? Aside from MACD, you have your volatility, no? Your volatility. And by the way, we're not always discussing OBV, ha, or volume bars, no? These are also very important metrics, no? Important ito lalo na doon sa mga indications where you don't have volumes, biglang nagka-volume, no? That's always a good reason for the price to go higher, no? Pero I discuss that sometimes sa live ko. Ano yung mga volume drivers? Kasi sometimes pag tumataas, I'm not always confident sa pagtaas kasi pag hindi, kunyari yung pagbaba ng 29,000 na noong July 20, we're not always confident it will go down because there's no volume, di ba? All right, let's now go with BB. Is BB an overlay or an oscillator? Is BB an overlay or an oscillator?
Overlay po.
Why is it an overlay?
Andun po siya sa pinaka-candles ko.
Okay, very good. Okay. Aralin muna natin si BB on a BB20 perspective, no? All right. Si BB20, obviously your orange line is your 20 days. Okay, this is your 20 days moving average. Okay? And then your outer line and then your lower line or your upper limit, lower limit is the deviation. No, it's your 2 sigma deviation. That's why it's called multiple of 2. It's a 2 sigma deviation. Kumbaga, in your 6 sigma you have lower limit and upper limit, no. So ang sinasabi ng deviation na to, kapag ang price is hinahag, no, ang rule ni Bollinger, kapag ang price is hinahag, ang kanyang consolidation is mahaba na and hinahag siya, there is a tendency for the price to break out or break down. Parang sa anatomy natin, no? After consolidation, when it's ripe for consolidation, there is a tendency for the coin to break out. Yun ang ugali niya. If it's already being squeezed like this, no? If it's being squeezed or hinahag niya yung price, the more that the price is potential to break out. All right. So based on the Bollinger Band perspective, karamihan sa mga gumagamit nito, what they use is the outer limit and the lower limit, no? The outer limit and the lower limit. Now, what do they do here is that if they're using BB20, of course we're always using BB50, no? But I want to teach you what BB20 does, no? Ang trabaho ni BB20, yung mga gumagamit nito, pag ito ay nag-break out sa orange line or sa BB20, that is when they enter. That is when they enter. Okay? Now, if it goes below the BB20, nag-break out ng pababa, it is a breakdown and they exit. They exit. Now, of course, volatility nga siya, 'di ba? Siya yung kumbaga sinusukat niya si galaw, yung galaw o yung spread out ng mga candles, no? Pinakamaganda si BB if you use a high Kinashi candle, no? Much organized. Hindi siya tulad nito. Tingnan niyo to. It doesn't look like that, no? Because sali-saliwa yung candle, no? Hindi mo malaman is it really an upward trend or a downward trend. But for example, this trend, no, if this upward trend, if you change this to high Kinashi, it becomes an all green. All green, no? All right, let me just try to refresh. Okay, let's try to use your high Kinashis. Let's try to use your BB again. Okay, BB20. All right. So, why do people use BB50 instead? No, BB50. And of course, you could use a multiple of 0.02. Yeah. Because people, ang sinasabi nila, ang rule ng BB50 is that si BB50 is a very good indicator of bounces. It's an indicator of bounce. No? And if it already breaks down from your regular BB50, it is already a sign of a bearishness. It's a sign of bearishness o pagiging bear ng candle. Kaya nga sabi ko sa naked charting ninyo, identify if it is a bull or a bear, no, by using your BB50. Now, ang laro dito is if it's already a breakout like this, no, with volume, right? It's a potential entry point. It's a potential entry point. So in this particular case, you see it's actually breaking out, but it is actually a selling volume. No, that's why it did not further push through. No, so that is the power of BB50. Now, another power of BB50 is if you see these types of trends. If you see this type of trend, right, and it broke out from the triangles, no, and then it actually broke out of the BB50, there is a sign of bullishness. No, there's a sign of bullishness. All right, another one. Okay. So some people call that a bullish pennant. No, some people. But for here, I want to simplify it. Obviously, it is a bounce on a BB line. Now, for people who are using your BBs, no, Pag bullish, pag bullish to, ang pwedeng mangyari dito, this can just bounce. No? Pag ito nag-breakdown, it can potentially bounce. Again, I'm not using fibs here, ha guys. I'm using pure Bollinger Place, ha, para at least alam nyo din. No? Pag ito nag-BB50 dyan, tumuloy-tuloy, it can potentially bounce. It potentially go up further. Parang ganito. No? So your if once it becomes a breakout, once the resistance is broken, anong tawag sa kanya yan? Once the resistance is broken, anong bagong tawag sa kanya?
Breakout po.
Letter S. Once a resistance
Support.
is broken,
Support.
it becomes a new support. Very good. Okay, it becomes the new support. So pag nabasag ang resistance, it becomes the new support, no, or tuntungan niya. No, pag ito bumaba ulit, it could go further down here. Now, what is the best time frame for your BB50? It's always your 1 day. That's your best time frame. Your best time frame for a BB50 is your 1 day. All right, you could go down to 1 hour, it's fine. It's fine. Rarely optional you use 15 minutes, but your best always is your 1 day. All right, let's now go to Mr. RSI. Familiar with Mr. RSI? Anong trabaho ni RSI?
How about yung BB20? Anong best time frame nun, coach?
1 day.
Pati yung BB20, coach? 20?
Mhm.
Oh,
1 day.
okay. Thank you.
But don't don't use it at all. So just use your BB50s. Kasi you will notice talaga si 50 talagang tutuntungan lang niya yan. Tapos pag bumasag yan, alam mo talagang babasag na siya pababa, no? Pero pag umangat yan, there's a reason. Kasi 50 days moving average, ibig sabihin, yung average nung candle, nung trend above 50 days, binasag niya. Meaning, yung performance nung candle over the past 2 months, binasag niya. Parang ano yan eh, parang yung mga, mamaya I'll discuss, yung mga proponents na mga AOTS, yung mga EMAs, parang ganun yun. Mamaya I'll explain the trend followings, okay? Yung RSI naman, let's go to Mr. RSI. Si RSI, you have your 14, which means it's actually 14 days. I always say you use 30. You only use 14 when you're scalping. In fact, you can even use RSI 9 or RSI 10, no, if you're scalping. That's also optional. No? All right. So your RSIs in itself, ang trabaho nito is to measure momentum. No? Yung price, is it an overbought or an oversold coin? What does RSI 70 mean, guys? Is it what over what?
Overbought.
Overbought.
And RSI 30?
Oversold po.
Over?
Sold.
All right. Okay. So, RSI 70 is your overbought. Your RSI 30 is your oversold. Now, okay. So, as I've said, I think I said this yesterday, you also need to remember na si RSI mismo, may tinatawag siyang support, resistance, and trends. No? Support, resistance, and trends. So when you do your breakout sa taas, pwede ka ring mag-breakout or breakdown or mag-breakout sa RSI area. Pwede rin yun. You could do that, no? So some technicians, what they do is this, no? They actually do patterns like this, which means it's a breakdown. No? Some of them even do this, no? They do, remember yung ating tinatawag na pullback, guys? Remember pullback? Yeah, that's also pullback, no? So it also happens in your RSIs. No? Another useful benefit of RSI is because of the zones, no? Yung 70 zone and 30 zone, it means that yung mga traders, they always assume that if it is oversold, it's okay to buy. But it's not always the case, no? Because pwedeng mangyari, nag-oversold na si BTC ng 30,000 USDT, bumaba pa lalo. Like for example, this one. That's always a potential to happen. Pero ang maganda sa RSI, you have an ability to you have an ability to look at historicals, no? So you have your lower lows, lower low RSIs, no? In this case, you have an RSI 16, RSI 16, sobrang baba na nito. Pag ganito talagang sobrang bubulusok na yun pataas, no? So, ang ibig sabihin ng momentum from the word itself, yung momentum ng coin or ng asset or ng stock, pag ito ay bumulusok pababa, the momentum is downwards. Once it hits a very low RSI, there's a tendency for it to go upwards. The same thing for the higher RSIs, which is an overbought territory. This is what you call a parabolic burst, no? Bababa na yan, parabolic burst. So, if you remember sa inyong mga mathematics class ng high school, may tinatawag tayong parabola, no? Parabola is like letter U. It's like your parabola or parabola, no? So, anyways, so you have your parabola here. Kumbaga yung dulo, ito yung pinaka-tuktok, no? Yung pinaka pwedeng mag-burst na yan. The same thing for your lower low RSI. Now, may mga gumagamit nito kung saan 50 is also an important RSI. 50 is also an important RSI. If the RSI goes below 50, ang tendency ng inyong trend could be bullish divergence. Maraming pwedeng mabuong bullish divergences below 50. Maraming pwedeng mabuong bearish divergence sa higher 50 and above. The more na meron kang tinatawag na parabolics, which means that this is a slang term used by traders to indicate price momentum is upward and exponential. Okay? So, when you are above when you are above 72, you could do when your RSI is above 72, pwede pa yang bumulusok pataas. Okay? So that's what you call parabolic, no? You could do parabolic scalping, day trade, exit at 76. 76. If you're scalping, use 5 minutes or lower, no? And then use RSI 14 or optional 9. Now, if you are RSI yan, so you will notice yung mga ganyan lumalagpas pataas, yung mga lumalagpas, not necessarily 70, no? 72 talagang bumubulusok pataas pa yan. But when it hits, when your RSI daily, RSI weekly. Tulad nyo to guys, I will not repeat it anymore. When your RSI daily is 80, above 80, but your RSI weekly is below 80, then careful, don't buy on bulk.
Hey coach, about po dyan sa RSI daily, paano po yun? RSI 14 po? Or paano po siya nalalaman?
RSI 30 to. RSI 30. Use your daily time frame.
Okay. Gets. Thank you po.
Sure. RSI daily, which is your time frame weekly, careful, don't buy on bulk. On the same thing, careful gamit ng RSI, pero use very very useful din to. So on the same thing, if you see an RSI 30 high Kinashi candle RSI 30 or above 80, sell on site. Okay, sell agad because in this case ito nag-84 na, biglang bumubulusok pababa. 'Di ba? Pag lumalagpas na to ng 80, I'm just looking at the daily Pero kapag ang RSI mo is 72 daily, pasok ka dyan, no? Of course, you don't wait for an hour, you wait for a day. Kaya nga sa daily time frame para ma-realize mo yung benefit, no? Right? So ang paggamit ng RSI, pag umakyat na ng RSI 50, pwede ka na makakita ng mga potential, umakyat ng 72, you could now use your parabolic scalping and parabolic day trade. But rule is the 80s, no? The RSI 80s sa RSI 30, daily and weekly. Now, as I've said, pag sa RSI, nakakita kayo ng below 50 RSI, chances are more bullish divergences can occur. If it's higher than 50 RSI, more bearish divergences can occur. More bearish divergence. Ito pwedeng convergence word yan. Okay, divergences can occur. Okay, pwede yan. Alright.
Coach, question po. Yung less than 50 RSI po na yan, galing po sa baba, pataas. Kumbaga parang ang direction niya is parang pataas po or
Within here, pataas.
apa? Okay.
Pataas siya. Kasi pag pataas to, example, ito. Pag ito pataas, pero pababa pa rin si candle mo, yan na si bullish divergence. Ayan na si bullish divergence. No? Pag ito pababa pa din. Kunyari, pababa pa din to, for example lang. Then ito, pataas ito pababa, then potentially magtataas yan, mag-bullish divergence yan. No? That's a potential
Bullish
divergence or divergence overall. All right. So, nasa na tayo? Okay. So, yun tandaan niyo yung mga parts and the specifics ni RSI, no? Ganun siya karaming benefit basta alam mo siya gamitin. Basta alam mo siyang gamitin. Parabolic is a slang term used by traders to indicate price momentum, and it's actually upward, no? And exponential. So kumbaga ang Tagalog niyan, for lack of better word, it is actually a market panic sell, no? Panic buying ang market word diyan. Nag-uunahan kasi iniisip ng market, kaya pa palang bilhin on a higher price, uunahan ko na, bibili ako ulit. Nananalo yung buyers, no? Okay. So, let's now go with the EMAs and ALMAs and whatever MAs of the world do we have, okay? Let's now remove BB. Guys, nag-take ba kayo ng notes? Type po number 1. Are you taking down notes? Please, you need to take down notes, ha? Hindi ko na uulitin to. Okay, good. All right. All right, let's do this, no? All right, so when we are doing our EMAs, okay, ang trabaho ni EMAs, tanggalin ko muna itong mga arrows na to. Kasi tinuro ko na sa inyo yung anatomy, no? So magandang alam nyo na yun, no? Now, I'm going to teach you indicators that you can use to do multiple types of setups, no? Let me try to remove RSIs first. Okay. Okay. Now, there are different types of moving averages. My mentoring for you guys is never use moving average alone. Never use this moving average. It has no purpose. Could even make your trade weaker. Okay? Because ang trabaho ni MA alone is a pure mathematical moving average. It's a straight average, no? It's a straight average of your past 9 days or whatever is the indicator number here, no? So the reason why I'm telling you to use a different indicator such as your exponential moving average or your EMA, no? Is because your exponential moving average, if you actually use the two EMAs, let's say you remove this and you have a, let me try to change the candle first para makita ninyo. Okay. Volume. Give me a second. Try to use BTC. We try to align first. Yan, okay. Let us try to use an EMA and an MA. Okay. My EMA would be color, my favorite color, blue. My school color. And then the MA is my another not so favorite color in terms of school. All right. So makikita ninyo dito na kahit parehas sila ng MA9, no? Kahit parehas sila ni MA9, there is a tendency for the blue candle, sorry, the blue MA, let me try to hide the MA9 first na green, you know. All right. There's a tendency for your blue candle to always come nearer, na mas malapit siya doon sa candle formation nyo. Si blue is always nearer than your green. No, most of the time, and that's important for a moving average, ha? Because ang ibig sabihin nun, mas hinahag niya yung price, mas hinahag niya yung trend. Ang trabaho kasi ni MA, moving average, in a straight average lang niya, yung performance nung price, no? Straight average for the past 9 days. Eh paano kung galing sa pinakailalim? Galing sa pinakailalim yung candle biglang tumaas. No? So because nasa ilalim pa yung past 5 days niya at nasa taas na yung past next 4 days niya, si green is nasa ilalim. Pero because si EMA, moving average, binibigyan niya ng more emphasis yung past few days ng EMA9, mas hinahag niya yung price. Mas hinahabol niya. And that is what you want on a moving average. Okay. Enter ALMA. Ano ang trabaho ni ALMA? Si ALMA, if you research ALMA, it is ang ginagawa ni ALMA 9. Tatanggalin ko na si MA, no? Tanggalin ko na si MA. Alright. Ang trabaho ni ALMA 9, siya naman ay 3 beses bumabalik-balik. Left to right, right to left, left to right. Smoother moving average. Okay, napansin mo, tinalo ni EMA si MA9. Pero in this case, sino ang mas malapit kay candle? Is it ALMA o is it EMA? ALMA is the lighter line. Sino ang mas malapit kay
Alma po.
sino?
Alma, coach.
ALMA. So that is the power of this coin. Of this indicator. Si ALMA, ang gusto niyang gawin sa buhay niya, gusto niya mas laging malapit kay candle. So kapag nilagay mo si ALMA kay EMA, if you put ALMA to EMA at ito ay nag-crossover, it almost automatically means it is a bullish formation. No? Kasi yung 20 days mo, if you put 20 days here, okay, your EMA, tusok ALMA from ilalim, it can mean it is actually bullish, no? It's bullish, no? Parang MACD, no? Your MACD is actually crossing the signal, no? In this case, your ALMA is it's actually hugging your price. But if you do an EMA 9, mas hinahag niya yung price versus the EMA. If you do an ALMA 9, mas hinahag niya yung price versus EMA 9. Ganun ka powerful si ALMA. Now, that is more the reason why I don't want you guys to use MA alone. That is more the reason why I don't want you guys to use MA alone. Now, ano ang 3 famous na strategies on using your moving average? Yung tinatawag tayong 3 EMA. Okay, the younger, the mother, and the grandmother EMA strategy. So you'll put EMA. Okay, your EMA is the younger EMA, which is 20 years old, yung dalagang EMA. And then your next EMA is the mother, the 50 years old. And then the last EMA is your 100 years old grandmother EMA. Okay. So ano ang trabaho ng tatlong ito based on your candle formation? Okay. Ang trabaho nito is this, no? Kapag kanina sabi ko sa inyo, kapag bumasag ng MA50 bullish, correct? Naalala niyo 'yon? Naalala niyo 'yun, guys?
Yes po.
Okay, pag Bollinger Bands, 'di ba? It is almost the same as this. Bumasag siya ng MA50. EMA50. Now, ang rule of thumb is kapag ito ay bumasag na ng EMA 100, which is your oldest, in fact, EMA 50 okay na eh. Pero pag itong tatlong to naghalikan, yung tatlong EMA na yun, naghalikan yan, at nasa taas, itong naghalikan yan, expect ninyo na itong candle na to bubulusok yan pataas. Meaning, your youngest EMA is going to cross pataas. Your youngest EMA is going to cross pataas, tutusukin niya na yung older EMA. Parang si EMA Alma strategy. No? Pag ito naghalikan pataas, expect mo na to tataas pa yung pataas. No? Ito maghahalikan na si 20 at si 50. Sabihin bullish na yan. Kasi yung 20 days EMA average is already beating the EMA 50. The same thing with EMA 50 crossing above 100, ibig sabihin bullish na siya. Lahat ng average na for the past 50 days and 100 days, tatagusan na ng current price. In the same banana, if your EMA 20 crosses below pababa of your EMA 50, here you will notice like this one, your EMA 20 crosses pababa yung kanyang nanay, ito ay sign of bearishness. Ito ay sign of bearishness or tinatawag nilang death cross. Yung talagang death cross is MA50 and MA200, no? But without waiting for the past 200, you could already see, no, some bearishness from EMA20 and EMA50. Kapag ito ay humalik na at this point, tandaan mo it will further go down like this. No? If it already tries to kiss below, no? The same banana, pag ito yung EMA 20 humalik pataas kay 50, you expect some reversal of the trend. Does that make sense, guys? Make sense? Yeah, type number 1 kung nakatulong, naunawaan ang gamit ng EMAS. Okay, EMAS pa lang panalo ka na. Pero sabi ko nga, anong sabi ko kanina, anong kasama dapat ng EMA?
Momentum po.
Momentum, very good. Very good. Okay? Ganun dapat ang laban. Dapat may mga katulong, may confluences, may confirmation. Hindi ka pwedeng tira ng tira using AOTS or EMAS, no? No? AOTS, alignment of the stars. Hindi pwedeng puro ganyan. Although it can be a good indicator, kasi nakita mo naman, if you do backtesting, nakita mo naman, di ba? You notice, pag tumira pababa si EMA 20, tinusok si EMA 50, basag yan pababa. At once bumasag yung trend line ng EMA 100, naku, kalimutan mo na. Huwag ka nang tumaya. Huwag ka nang tumaya. Ganon siya ka-powerful, no? Although, of course, alam niyo naman ang favorite nating indicator, si FIB. Hindi as powerful as FIB. Why? Why is it not as powerful as FIB? Ano ba si Fibonacci? It is a predictive indicator. Hindi pa nangyayari yung candle, alam na ni FIB saan siya magbabounce. May higher probability of a bounce, no? Alam niya na where will it bounce. Okay. So sabi ko nga, ang buy signal using your candle formation is when you see your EMA 20 crossing above your EMA 50. Your sell signal is when your EMA 20 crosses below your EMA 50. Okay? Now, again, do not use MAs, use EMAs. exponential moving average. You can also use SMA, simple moving averages. Walang problema yun. But just don't use MAs or moving average because due to volatility, lagi na iiwan. Mas hinahabol ng ALMA at ng EMA yung MA, no? At ayun ang gusto mo sa iyong ayun ang gusto mo sa iyong moving average, hinahabol niya. Kaya nga moving average, yun ang pangalan niya, no? All right. So bakit mas effective si fib? Kasi si fib, alam niya na saan niya ilalagay yung kanyang formation. So if we try to put a fib here, let's do an extension 1, 2, and 3. Alam niya na that this can potentially retrace, no, on these following areas. No, alam niya na 'yan. Alam niya na 'yan before pa 'yan mangyari. No? It can potentially retrace on these areas. Okay? Now, EMA, ALMA, SMAs, MAs, they are what you call laggard metrics. Pina-follow lang niya yung candle. So, don't always put your faith on the MAs. Of course, lagyan mo yan lagi ng RSIs, no? And MACD is obviously an optional oscillator that you can put, no? And hindi ka na mawawala. Now, ang chart hindi paramihan ng indicators. Okay, hindi siya paramihan, no? As what you have been noticing, I have been very profitable, not by so many charts, so many before ganun ako. So I want a very colorful. I want a very colorful what's this chart, no? Pero hindi ganun, no? At least dapat ang iyong chart should be your bread and butter indicator. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, ang aking bread and butter indicator is a breakout trade. No? Should be a breakout trade. All right. So we are done with Bollinger. We're done with RSI. We're done with EMAs. We're done with MAs. What else do we need? Volume. Okay. Volume, ang kagandahan sa cryptocurrency is that there's always volume. Okay, hindi katulad, for example, let me give you an example. Let me give you not ABS, LPZ. Look at that, no? Lopez Holdings, no? Look at this, guys. Walang kwenta tong gap up, choppy, consolidating, puro ay sus Maria. Walang kwenta. May mga ganyang stocks na walang volume. Look at that, 54 trades lang. Nakita nyo? Di ba? But when you change into Bitcoin, Panginoon ko, almost 500,000, parang buong PSEI na yan. No? Parang buong PSEI. Tinan mo volume, value, 503.65 million. Diba? Dollars yan, if you go to PSEI, this is pesos. 94,000 trades. 94,000 trades, but BTC alone is 386,000 trades already. So, ang kagandahan from a volume perspective, you will always have volume, which is good, no? Sabi ko nga sa mga stock traders dito, pag galing ka sa stock trading at pumunta ka sa Bitcoin, ay naku, talagang mas maganda yung pakiramdam kaysa so galing kang Bitcoin magsa-stock ka, no, never. Mauurat ka dun, no? So mas maganda kasi matagal na naming hinihiling na magkaroon ng sa stocks trading ng shorting. Hindi pa raw ready ang Philippines market on shorting. Wala pang trailing stop loss except yung Metro Securities, sila pa lang. No? Wala pa silang automatic stop loss yung karamihan ngayon. So napaka-unfair ng Philippine stock market, pero if you go to Bitcoin, nandiyan na lahat. May earn, may leverage, may margin trading, merong shorting, merong buy long, and then wala kang problema sa volume. Pag tumira ka talaga ng taya mo, talagang panalo ka talaga. Talagang you will really see the benefit of winning on the coin because may magpo-push na volume dun sa taya mo. Unlike tumaya ka sa PSEI, unless index yung coin mo, yung stock mo, okay ka, may volume ka. Right? So here, when you go and look in, by the way, Heikinashi, no, why am I using Heikinashis? Because as I've said, no, ang kagandahan ni Heikinashi, guys, by the way, may mga traders akong kilala, ang gamit lang nila Heikinashi and EMA9. Yun lang ang gamit nila. No? They saw the value of EMA9 and Heikinashi close, right? Because sinasabi nila, if I do an EMA9 and I do a 1 hour, normally if it breaks out on my EMA9, it's normally bullish. If it breaks out on my EMA9, it is bullish. For example, sinasabi nila, no, this is a Heikinashi candle, nag-break out sa EMA9. Okay, nag-break out sa EMA9. Let's try to use your price range from breakout hanggang dun sa taas. This is 16.4%. Nag-breakdown sa baba, nag-breakdown pababa, exit, this is already 5.45%. Nag-breakout ulit sa ilalim, let's try to measure that again. Nag-breakout sa ilalim, it is already 4.38%. May mga ganyan akong kilalang traders, talaga nag-i-EMA lang talaga sila. EMA and candles. EMA and Heikinashi. And true enough, kung tutuusin, pwede siyang gamitin because one of the things na hindi alam ng mga traders is also a candle reading is also technical analysis. A candle reading is also a technical analysis. So sabi nila, EMA alone, solve ka na. EMA alone, EMA9, mga short-term 1 hour, wag 1 day, 1 hour, EMA9, Heikinashi, because Heikinashi is also a smoothed candle. If you use a regular candle, no, don't use that on EMA9 because it would give you sali-saliwa, no? But if you use mga breakouts ng EMA9, breakout pataas, confirmation candle, tataas pa yan ng almost profitable area. Pero nag-break down, if it breaks down with confirmation candles, it could further even go downwards. Okay? Guys, I've been talking for almost an hour. Type 1 kung may natutunan sa aking lecture on understanding indicators. Type 1 kung may natutunan. Okay, busog-lusog ba? Okay, good. Make sure tandaan niyo yan ha kasi hindi ko tinuturo yan sa labas, no? Kailangan okay, I'm not teaching, I know stocks but I'm not teaching it. I know Elite, I'm not teaching because I think there are similarities naman, no? And there are similarities on the existing formation. For example, stocks is like similar to the concept of your RSIs and MACDs, no? Although it's also a very, very powerful tool because similar to MACDs, you also have your 3 days average versus your other days average. You know, kumbaga tusok pataas lang yun. Ganun lang ang sistema ng stocks. All right. I hope you were able to learn on the theories, no? Ang gusto kong gawin nyo guys is when you try to learn all of these indicators by yourself, what I think that you need to find very important is you know that there are trends, no? Kasi itong trend na to, this is not measured by your EMAs and ALMAs. Your trends actually are predictive, no? Your patterns are cyclical, fractal, phases. Nangyayari ulit. Other mentors call your phases as fractals, they call it phases, they call it cyclicals, no? Paulit-ulit na nangyayari, no? So it's important that alam nyo, pag nagkaroon ng breakout, meron siyang pinagsisimulan, no? And in my model, I'm teaching you a cyclical, a fractal, a phases of the curve or the trend na pwedeng mangyari using your fib as your breakout start, no? Para may alam ka kung saan siya nagsisimula. Is it starting on a 0.5 breakout? Is it starting on a 0.618 breakout? Because if those two are broken, alam mo naman lagi ang punta niya, no? Mas kikita ka dyan. Now, on the same banana, kapag ikaw ay intermediate trader, it's important na alam mo itong trend na to because not so many traders know merong always na pullback na nangyayari. May tinatawag tayong correction, no, na nangyayari. Correction na pwedeng mangyari on any upward trend. At ang karamihan, if people don't know that there is a pullback, sinasakyan pa rin nila kahit short-term trades lang hanggang bumaba, hanggang maipit na sila. Imagine mo nag-cut loss ka dyan nung nagkaroon siya ng pullback, no? Na-save mo yung pera versus na matalo ka, na-save mo yung pera hanggang bumaba, di ba? And use that money on other coins that are actually appreciating like AXI or SLP or whatever other tokens that are appreciating. No, at least you're able to use your money correctly. Okay?